welcome to the True Northing podcast with Kristen and Allison.
How are you today?
How am I today? Today is day 2 of my cycle, and gosh, what a difference between day 1 and day 2 for
Oh, yeah,
me, I think for
me too.
everyone.
Mhm.
Yesterday I'm like, "Ugh, stay in bed." Just like, my womb is like 4 times the size or whatever, it grows to. And yeah, tender feels, tender day. Today I feel yeah, still moving slower, a little more chipper, um, moving through the motions of the day and life, doing all those applications I was talking about last week. And yeah, just navigating life.
I'm bringing luteal Kristen
Mm,
this week.
mm.
Yeah.
What is luteal Kristen sharing with us today?
Ooh, well, luteal Kristen is a little sassy. She's a little fiery. Nothing's
Welcome.
nothing's quite right, you
Oh,
know? She's kind of, like, doesn't wanna have to do the things.
mm,
Kind of, like, "Leave me alone. I just wanna do my thing. I don't wanna have to do that or that. Screw that," you
mm.
know?
I saw this post this guy had done. He's like, "Men, we gotta learn our ladies' cycles because we need to plan that hot date when she's in ovulation. We need to have, like, bedside talk and get her favorite snacks when she's in luteal and just hear whatever she needs to vent. We need to make her a nourishing meal when she's bleeding." And, like, I forget what he said as far as follicular, but, like, it was all so sweet and thoughtful and supportive. I'm like, "This man,
He's got it figured out.
he's got it figured out," but, like, men, it can work in your favor,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And in addition to luteal, I'm feeling a little bit of kind of seasonal I wouldn't say depression, but just a seasonal slump. I'm done with the cold and I'm ready for sunshine. I'm somebody who the sun recharges me majorly, and yeah, so it's this combination of winter slump and luteal that has me just like, I need to get out of here. I've been looking at vacations this morning. I'm like, I just need to fly somewhere. I just need 3 days in front of the ocean, 80-degree weather, sun on my skin, and I will be recharged.
It does that, doesn't it?
Yes, it's so necessary.
Where were you looking? If you could go anywhere for 3 days, where would it be?
I was looking at the Caribbean,
Oh.
um, Barbados or Puerto Rico.
That would
Yeah.
be what, like, only a 5-hour flight from where you
Mhm.
are?
Yeah, like 4 or 5. Mhm.
Lovely.
Mhm. And then there's all the logistics, right? You're like I'm
Yeah.
like, "I just need to get away," but then all the mental work of, "Well, what about these things that need to happen and the kids and who's gonna do this while I'm gone?" And yeah,
All of it.
all of it.
Like, the vacation sure takes a lot of work.
It does, but you know what? But when I stay, so it's when I'm just stuck in the seasonal slump and the luteal fire, I guess we'll call it, then I'm coping. I'm trying to cope with the discomfort that I'm feeling in this space. And I actually wanted to ask you what you do, perhaps unconsciously, to cope with uneasiness.
Mm,
Like, what do you reach for? So for me, I shop.
Hmm.
and not excessively. I'm not somebody who compulsively spends money or like usually when I spend money, it's in integrity. It feels good. It's a quality item that I actually need. I don't like spending just to spend, but when I'm in a luteal slump or just any kind of slump or feeling uneasy, I will find myself being like, okay, I'm ready to buy that thing that I've been thinking about for a while. Okay, I'm going to find it. I'm going to go, I'm going to search, I'm going to start shopping online, looking for this specific thing that I want. And you know what? I'm just going to splurge and get this good quality. And so I'll just do that. And like getting ready for summertime and I'm craving sun. I'm like, okay, I just bought 4 bathing suits. And then I'm like, Kristen, you're just coping right now. I mean, they will get used. Like I have every intention of wearing them, but that's what I notice myself doing is all of a sudden I want to do things that help me feel good.
Mhm.
And often for me, that's um, comfort or like feeling good in my body, pretty materials, like things like that that I can wear that helps me feel good.
Mhm.
And that had me thinking too about how we often need to feel good in order to do good, which I think we've talked about
Mm.
before, where
Uh-huh.
for men, they typically like to do good in order to feel good. So they'll take the action and that will make them feel good. For women, it's often doing something to make themselves feel good, like self care or buying a new bathing suit in order to then get the energy or motivation to do the things they have to do.
Mm.
And that is
Yeah.
so true for me.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting. Yesterday, while I was feeling like total yuck, I I mean, probably the first thing that I would have liked to do, but I didn't because it was cold would be to spend time outside. But I put on a really nice dress when I went out, and it just made all the difference. Just like a little care for myself, a little love, a little nurturance, a little like pick me up in that
Mhm.
way. Um, yeah, or I feel like for me, I really reach for like drinks a lot. Like, I'll go to the coffee shop and I'll get a drink or pick up a drink from the store. Like, that's kind of like a coping thing for me is, like, drinks, not
Yeah.
alcoholic drinks, but, like, um, I don't know, like a probiotic soda. I haven't had a probiotic soda in a while, but, like, what did I don't know, like a sparkling tea or a matcha. I don't I yeah. I like to buy
Mm.
drinks, and I like to put myself together nicely when I'm not feeling so good, especially in luteal, I would say. Um, I love that you bought 4 bathing suits for summer. You were like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm buying my bathing suits, and it's happening."
And for the record, they're all gonna be try-ons and I'll probably keep 1, maybe 2.
Yes.
But yeah, it was like, "Goodbye, winter. I'm preparing myself for sunshine. It's time."
Yeah.
I'm with you with the beverages.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a matcha drinker, but lately, I've been doing matcha with a shot of espresso, and I've been doing it. I had one yesterday, I had one today, and today I was like, "I kind of feel like I need another one in the afternoon." I mean, it's just like I'm all about the comfort in this state, but yeah,
Yeah.
the warm nourishing drinks with a little caffeine, give you a little boost,
So
definitely help.
good. So good. Yeah, yesterday I was at a point I'm like, "What do I do with myself?" I'm like, "I don't wanna be at home. I don't wanna be in my bed. I don't wanna move. I can't sit outside. It's too cold comfortably." So I'm like, "I'm going to get a warm drink." Didn't
Yeah,
wanna make myself anything.
it's
Yeah,
never
so
as
that
good.
yeah,
Never as
right?
good make it
It's
yourself, it's true.
it's hard because I can go both ways. Sometimes I'm like I think with coffee, it's not as good when I'm making it right now, but other drinks, like certain matchas, I don't feel as satisfied out. So, I
Mm.
think it depends on what it is.
Mhm.
But I've been having some more cravings recently that I wanna give myself. You know what I ate yesterday for breakfast?
What?
I just ate a can of sardines for breakfast.
Yes, I've been doing that, but I'll do it with arugula and lemon. So good.
I was just like, because when I'm thinking about breakfast in the morning, I'm usually thinking about my family and my kids, and I'm like, "What do they want? What am I gonna make for them?" And, um, I was like, "What do I want? What does this body need?" I'm like, "You know what? It's 8 AM. I'm cracking open a can of sardines. I sliced some red onion, which wasn't a good idea because my breath smelled for so long. Um, but then I added some, lemon and parsley, and I was just like, "This is exactly what I want."
Yum.
So, I'm getting better at more of that versus, like, how do I fit in with everybody's needs and, like, "Ooh, what does this body want right now, regardless of what's appropriate?"
Yes. Well, I
And,
think sardines are always appropriate.
exactly, they are, but, like, I think according to, like, my breakfast standards, I was, like, I was standing at the counter eating a can of sardines.
Yeah.
But I was dancing around too, I was like, I was like, "This feels like freedom."
I like it.
It was good, it was good. Yeah, it was after I got my coffee, so, life was good.
Mhm. So that brings us to today's topic.
Yeah, bring us in.
I've really been going through it with my 7-year-old daughter, and I thought we could talk about it today. Why do children so often seem to unload their emotions with their mom predominantly? What I've been experiencing is my strong, powerful, emotional feeling daughter who is so lovely and sweet and is so polite with her peers and teachers, and we don't see any kind of behavioral concerns really in any other setting. And then she comes home to me, and almost immediately it feels like the transition to mom, she unravels like big meltdowns where anytime I have to say no or redirect her away from something that she was wanting, it's a huge problem. And when I talk to her dad about it, he's like, I'm not really seeing that. I'm not getting that when she's with me. So it's seems really specific. And I've gone through all the things in my mind of like, okay, is it a nutritional issue? Um, like a biological thing that's going on? Is she not getting adequate sleep because of these other things that I'm noticing, right? And trying to piece together what could be causing this, but then it's like, why is it so specific to me? And I've had some good conversations with her where I've gotten some insight into what's happening for her. And she basically has said in so many words that she has these big feelings, but worries that she'll get in trouble if she expresses them in other places. And so, what I'm sitting with right now, kind of my theory, is that at school and at friends' houses, and even with her dad, and with all these different people and in different settings, she's following the rules. She's being a good listener. She's going along with what she's being told needs to happen, even when it's not something she wants. So she's containing herself kind of all day long. And then when she comes home to me, it's safe for her to let all of that pent up energy out. I get to be her container,
Mm, how fun.
which is so not fun. Yeah, it's like in one sense, I'm so happy that she feels safe enough with me to do that, to unleash all of that pent up emotion. And then, of course, it's super challenging and, um, yeah, really taxing to be
Mm.
with.
When you use the word unraveled at the start to describe, like, she unravels, it gave me that image of what you said, like, she keeps herself together. She shows up, she's the good girl, she does the right thing, she says the right thing, she's kind, she's polite, she's going through the motions of what everybody would want from her. And then she comes to you and is like, "Oh, that was a lot. Oh my god, I need just space to not be that way. That was too much."
Mhm.
And yet you're like, "Wait, why don't I get to experience any of the nice, polite, kind, thoughtful, um, child?" And yeah, I'm really curious what feeling gets evoked in you when she's going through her meltdowns. Like, is it overwhelm or frustration?
It might be frustration.
Mm,
Kind of like, "Hey, wait a minute. You can't treat me that way." I think is the natural feeling I get, right? When
mm,
she's over something so small. Like, here I am just doing my job as a mom, and you are just crapping all over me, is what it feels like in the moment.
mhm,
It feels unfair.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, and of course it would, right? Because you don't get to experience her in normal kinda day-to-day life in the classroom or in the after school activity or whatever it is, and her kind of holding herself together. You get the part of her that's the opposite of that, of like, I'm not holding anything together
Mhm,
anymore.
mhm,
And those each of those little things could be a reminder of all the ways she doesn't want to keep it together and
mm,
is refusing to keep it together right then and there. And the reason I asked what feeling it evokes is because sometimes children, when they cannot tell us their feeling, which it sounds like she is, but they show us. And so if we're like overwhelmed and like, I cannot handle this, it could show, oh, the child is showing me that there is something such as their feelings or their experience that's too much for them to handle. It's too many big feelings that she's holding in and containing.
mm.
I knew we were having this conversation today, and so I checked in with my 11-year-old who I used to have a lot of these experiences with. And I said, "Hey, remember when, you know, you used to, maybe kind of as you explained, like keep it together at school or, in these other relationships or situations, but when you would like come back from school or come home to me, like you would really melt down." And I'd asked her about it and I said, why do you think you did that? And she said it wasn't that she couldn't feel in those other instances. She said, I did it because you would understand. And I just thought that was so poignant of like, you could understand and you could support me through that. And I know with her when she was younger, I was really challenged in a similar way with like the huge feelings and the huge responses, like larger than life, and like, what is going on here? How do you feel so much? so deeply, and like you've really been holding a lot in. And for a long time, I really focused on holding space, trying to understand more, validating, um, just kind of letting her move through it all the way, because with her, that seemed the only way through, was to feel it all the way. There was no like pausing or um kind of stepping in a different direction. But what I what I learned was, yes, to allow her to go through it, but also to try and learn skills for how to be with the big feelings, and I'm trying to think of like, in supporting her, it was like, I read somewhere, it's like, yes, we need to validate and support, and then yes, we need to teach children what to do with those big feelings. We need to teach them not regulation, but like, what do you do when you have a really big feeling? How do you make sense of it? And how do you then um, also kind of frame your perspective around what's happening too? I'm trying to think through this a little bit of exactly like, you know, it was like, oh, so and so hurt my feelings, or, just trying to think of an example, and like having the big feeling, and yes, validating having the feeling, listening to everything that they need to say about it, feel about it, and then kind of guiding them to the next phase of like, um, their choice point. Like what choices or perspectives are we supporting them to take from there? Like, we can't stop at the holding space and validation. I mean, we can, but then there's the next step of, how do we go from here? And then ultimately, I wonder about how they can learn to not have to keep it together in all the other areas too, all the time, that it feels so constricting. But they bring it all to mom, because mom's gonna help. Mom understands. Mom is safe for me to totally unravel, let go, reveal, not be, not be a total big kid put together, have to know it all. She's gonna
Hmm.
help me hold this. What comes up for you right now?
I think it's feeling too abstract, like there's
Yeah.
no help. Okay, so one example recently was her coming home from school, and she normally will go to her brother's soccer practice after school, and she hates going, but we go all together. This time I said, you know what? I'm going to be done with work early. You don't have to go to practice. Why don't we just have a girls' night? We can have dinner together and play. And she gets home from school, and I ask her about dinner, what she wants to do, and she wants me to make her spaghetti and meatballs. So, and it's about dinner time. So I'm like, okay, let me get on that. I invite her to come do it with me, and she doesn't want to. Okay. So then I'm cooking in the kitchen, and she starts complaining of being bored. And I tell her, okay, well, I've got about 15 minutes here to cook dinner, and I'm trying to help her problem solve, right? Why don't you do this? Or what would you like to do? Nothing is helping. And she starts kind of spiraling and crying about how bored she is, and she wants a friend to come over. And it just turns into a big meltdown while I'm trying to cook dinner. And so in that instance, what I landed on was, all right, she transitioned from school and immediately, I mean, before she even came in the door, she was asking if she could have a friend over. So there was this transition from school where she immediately was ready to connect with it didn't even need to be me, it sounded like, but she wanted to connect and she wanted to have fun with someone. And so the problem there was that I had to do the logistical thing of feeding us. And she didn't want to do that with me. And so what she was feeling, I imagine, was big disappointment and kind of loneliness, maybe, because she was wanting to immediately engage and connect. And I wasn't available for that in that moment. So the lesson there for me, or I guess what I'm going to try, the experiment, will be to have dinner already ready and prepared before she gets home so that when she comes home, we're immediately engaged and I can be fully present with her.
Wow.
Another example, different example where I it's not super clear, but this is pretty typical of what I'm describing is she wanted to wear my shirt that I was wearing. She loves clothes. So I'm wearing this shirt and she goes, "Oh my gosh, mom, can I wear that shirt?" So eventually I say, "Okay, let me go change." I give her my shirt to put on. And of course, it's big on her. And so she's wanting to tie it with either a scrunchie or a clip. I can't quite remember. Oh, it was a clip. She was trying to clip it so that it was tight enough. And it was a stretchy material, and she wanted it skin tight, which means I really had to pull my shirt and clip it pretty tightly for it to stay up on her. And this is a delicate shirt. And so I had to say, I tried to work with her and put it on as tight as I could, as tight as I was comfortable, and then told her we can't do it any tighter because I'm worried it's going to ruin my shirt and then I won't be able to wear it ever again. And because of that, because I couldn't do it just the way she wanted, there was a huge meltdown,
Oh.
which looked like anger, and telling me that how mad she was at me. And that is typical where things are going fine. I'm present with her. I feel like I'm being very accommodating and playful. I'm enjoying our time together. And then there's a real inflexibility. Like if one thing doesn't go quite right or the way that she wants, it's a big problem. And this happens when we're deciding on dinner too. If
Uh-huh.
like everyone in the family wants a certain thing and she wants something totally different, everybody tries to compromise and she doesn't. She's like, it has to be what I want or there's going to be a huge issue
Uh-huh.
that we all write out, right? We'll sit there and I'll try to co-regulate with her but it happens a lot.
Mhm. Seems like she's needing quite a bit of practice in how she learns how to tolerate not having what she wants. Like, that's a
Mhm.
skill she's building right now, and she's needing help learning to tolerate and to build that skill. So, I wouldn't actually recommend to have dinner ready straight away necessarily all the time. I think that's so loving and caring and, of course, like, anticipating her needs and, um, you know, being
Trying
thoughtful and
try
trying.
trying to protect myself from
Yeah, trying to protect yourself from the
down.
wrath, but she's it's gonna come up in another way. She's saying, "I need help knowing how to handle when things don't go my way. I need help handling these big feelings. I need to learn these skills and" yeah, or that somebody can be with me in my upset when things don't go my way. It's not about avoiding the upset because she's going to find all the other ways to find where she can get upset, right? On the day that um, can't have a play date or the day that you have to go soccer. Like she's looking for all the ways that she can practice disappointment, is what it sounds to me.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And but the problem I'm having, so I understand that piece actually really that's comforting and that
Mhm.
helps me to frame it that way. And of course, like I said, it's so hard to sit with and it's not like this has been a little phase. I mean, this has been most of her life.
Mm. Is it specifically around the disappointment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hearing no, not getting what she wants.
Yeah, and I
Exactly.
imagine you've said things like, "It is so hard for you when I say no.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is so disappointing."
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Yeah, and
feels
she's
intolerable for you when things don't go your way. Like,
yeah.
it feels like you can't handle it.
And she yes, I've done
Mhm.
all the therapeutic tools, and
Yeah.
she's the type of kid where she doesn't wanna hear your validation. She's like,
Mm.
"Don't mirror me, don't speak." When I speak, it, like, amplifies her rage.
Mm.
So I have learned sometimes I can get a little bit in when I'm trying to help her co-regulate at the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, this feels so unfair right now," right? I'll say what I think she's feeling, I'll mirror her, I'll validate, and then I've learned that I have to just kind of write it out in silence. Like I have to just sit with her. She'll get very upset if I try to give her space
Mhm.
or take care of myself by leaving the room. So I have to
She
stay.
gets
She gets
okay,
upset.
okay,
So
so
she
you
wants
can't
me to
say
stay.
anything, but she wants you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't say anything. I can't leave, but I can't get too close, right? I offer hugs, no touch, but just stay. And so I do that. I generally will stay. I'll just sit there and I will focus on my breath and staying regulated
Mhm.
in this very dysregulating situation and kind of write it out. And it often will take 10 minutes easily, sometimes more
Mhm.
of the meltdown. So it's a lot. And it's
Mm.
not once a week, it's like multiple times a week, every week for many years. And I'm like, "Okay, girl, you're gonna be 8 soon, like, what am I missing? When does it get easier?"
Um, I don't think you're missing anything. I think she's she's built as a big feeler, and this is how she regulates. Like, she's not regulating calmly, breathing, talking it out. She's regulating through going through the sounds and the tears and the rage, like, that's her regulation journey, right?
Yeah.
I need to feel it, and yeah, of course, you wanna be there for her, um you don't wanna have to go through all of this, it's a lot for you, and so I think it would be healthy for her too to see what you need to do to take care of yourself. You're like, "You need to have these big feelings, and I can stay here, and I'm breathing, but you know what? I think I need to step out for a minute and just step outside and, you know, whatever it is, and I need to take a few breaths outside, and, like, that's almost like the co-regulation is, like, you doing what you need to do, like, authentically, and she's doing what she's doing authentically, or even saying, like, "This is" I mean, I'm just kind of talking through this, of, like, because it sounds like she's really what she's loving about this is her ability to be real and authentic, and I could only imagine that she wants the same from you as well. Like, for you to feel authentically.
I don't know. Well, sometimes I wanna roar back at her like,
Exactly, and
yeah, it
you're like,
stirs up my
y
rage.
yeah, you're like, I've got a roar in here right now." And you're like,
Mama's gotta roar.
yeah, mama's gotta work. Maybe it's not happening, maybe not at her, but maybe you're sitting there and you're like, I have a roar right now.
Uh-huh.
My roar needs to come out now."
My turn.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
just
I
like,
love that.
there's space for you, there's space for me. Like, you don't have to go invisible. You don't have to, because then you're kind of having to do what she has to do all
Yeah.
the time. Like,
And then
you're
I
like,
and then I'm
I
like, "Oh,
need to say the right thing, do the right thing, feel the right thing. And inside, you're like, this feels like a freaking prison. When is it going to be over? I want to roar.
yes.
Right? She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's what I'm doing over here.
Yes. Right. Yeah, and I had the thought the other day, of course, it's just part of my nature, like, analyzing it all, like, what could it
Mhm.
be? And what about this? And what have I not explored? And part of I'm like, are we the same person too? Because part of me is like, I have that fire in me that I see in her. And as soon as she starts, roaring or showing her anger, I feel it in me. And I'm like,
Mm,
I feel angry too.
mm,
And I was wondering about myself as a child, and I'll have to ask my mom about this. But like, I wonder how I handled hearing no, because I've always had a very strong, I use the word fiery, a very strong, fiery part of me that like knows what she wants and wants it now and like doesn't want to wait. And yeah. And so I kind of see that in her too,
mm.
of like, she's very strong. She's very powerful. She knows what she wants. She's like, I want what I want. I know what I need. Don't tell me no. It's like me. I'm like, I need a bathing suit.
Yeah,
I need a mop jet. Like, this is
yeah,
what I need to feel good. And don't tell me no. Like, I'm going to get
yeah.
it.
Don't tell me no.
I don't know. And
Mm,
then the other piece of this is that her, I have another child, right? My 10-year-old son who is often present for this. And of course it affects him. And he's like, oh, here we go again, and why does she have to have these big feelings? And this is so unfair. And one part of me has worried about that and thought, oh gosh, is he having the experience that he's getting lost
mm,
in her needs, and her emotions are really taking over the space, and he's getting lost in that.
mm,
Um and there could be a piece of that there. Another part of me has taken comfort in the fact that he is learning emotional capacity.
mm,
He's learning, and I've talked through some of this with him. He's learning how to stay in the presence of discomfort and emotional intensity. I'm not jumping in to rescue him. He's seeing me and feeling me stay and
mm,
breathe and regulate and kind of hold her energetically while she goes through this big wave of emotion. And he's in that position of having to sit in that too and learn how to stay okay and connected to himself through that. And we've had conversations where I've explained the importance of that when, when other people are having big feelings or there's chaos, there's things going around that are out of your control. How can you connect to your breath and stay and just let her ride the wave of her emotion? So that's another element too, is the sibling.
mhm. I love that, and I love the way that you're talking to him about it. And you said something that was so key, like, um, you're holding on to yourself. And then you had also said, like, I don't want him to get lost. And that just seems like the line right there. Like, where are you staying? Where are you growing? Where are you developing capacity, or where are you becoming invisible? And I'm sure you're tracking that and, being aware of that, and especially through the conversations that you're having. And I think that is such an important skill that children need to learn is resilience, tolerance for um yeah, other people having an emotional experience, being present, staying regulated, staying connected to yourself, and sounds like he's getting good practice. Yeah. Yeah, and something that also comes to mind for me, a therapist once said to me, like, one person's needs can't cancel out the other person's needs. So, and I think I've shared that on here before, but I always am like tracking that. And that doesn't mean that, like, within a single moment that, like, one person, can't express their emotion because there's another need. It's, like, kind of like a big puzzle, and it's working itself out over time. Um, but yeah, like, the emotional experience of one person in the family can't always be taking up the whole space where somebody else has a need.
Yes.
And they can learn that, right? Like emotional containment, like, which it sounds like she practices in a lot of other places. But it's like, hey, yeah, you're having a big feeling. I'm here, but brother, I'm here, and like, maybe I was doing something for brother, and I need to go check in with him. He's having a need right now too, or like we talked about, I'm having a need. I need to go and have a breath, or, like, balancing the needs of everyone. Um, and maybe if it's 10 minutes, you're fully present with her. But if it's something that's like consistently happening over time, it's, yeah, finding that balancing act for everyone.
Yeah, it will often happen when we are in the car
Hmm.
driving home from school or driving to an activity or something like that, where thankfully it's not usually, I'm engaged with my son and then she's having a big need that takes me away from him, but more that he, like me, are just caught in the storm and are stuck. It's not like he can go to his room. He can't leave. He has to stay because we're in the car. And yeah, so I find ways to, co-regulate with him in those moments too, where I look at him, where I grab his leg if I can reach it behind the seat. I tell him, I know this is hard. And I process with him afterwards, where he gets to tell me how unfair it feels and how hard it is. And I get to validate that and check in with his needs. Um, and it's just one of those interesting situations where we're just kind of navigating it together.
Oh, you're doing so amazing. I love you, just like so much care and attunement and attentiveness, just like the conversations that you're having and the follow ups, and yeah, all the support that you're available for. And it makes sense that she's like, hey, help me with this one. This one's
Mhm.
really big, mom.
Mhm.
This one's really, really big, feels really, really hard. Got some, deep, deep feelings here. And I love that you talked about your own experience with that. You're like, well, I too sometimes want to roar, or I remember as a child having big feelings, or even now, like having needs immediately. And um, you probably have so much wisdom just within your body to share with her, that you are sharing with her through these experiences. And with kids, everything is learned over time, right? Like, I know we wish, we give them the information, we help them through, like, it's like, "Okay, like, get it, you got it." But it's like the learning happens in so many experiences over time,
Mhm.
right? And it's, man, can it be exhausting? But what you're offering to her is so big, so caring. And I feel bad for saying, don't make her the pasta after school, have it ready. I think that, like, I get that, like you want to anticipate the need and not have to have her wait. And maybe that is best that you're like, hey, I am available for you when you need me and when you need this. Um, and it's such a balancing act. Is it that, or is it, hey, I'm gonna tolerate this frustration and I'm gonna help guide you through, you know, the experience of knowing disappointment and that you can still get through it.
Right. Yes, that balance of, is this a learning opportunity? Can For her to expand her capacity for disappointment and discomfort, and can I just breathe through that and help her with that? Or is this a moment where I myself am taxed and maybe don't have the capacity to hold her through another meltdown? And so I'm going to try to anticipate her needs
Oh,
and have the dinner ready, choosing
oh,
those moments, the learning moments versus the easier moments.
absolutely. Yeah. Something I heard recently was this notion of like, we don't need to teach our children about hard times.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, I thought this was really interesting, because we're like, oh, they need to learn that like life is hard or, you know, this kind of idea. It's like, we don't need to teach our children that because they're going to have enough of that in life. We need to teach our children that like life can be good and
Hmm.
beautiful. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet and really interesting, different perspective,
Yeah.
right? As parents, we're like, we need to like help them prepare and, right, as we've talked about, develop capacity.
Right, I
Um,
think it's both.
yeah, it's both.
Like, yeah, we don't need to create opportunities for things to be hard. Like, let them have ease and joy and fun and all of that. And when those moments naturally present, when there is discomfort or disappointment, helping them learn how to tolerate those.
Mhm. Right, so maybe it is make the pasta. Don't
Right.
need to yeah, or, and maybe some days you can't. And then you're like, "Oh, well, this is a moment that we're tolerating."
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't need to create the moments because they will present themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was really beautiful because I know I've carried as a parent this feeling of responsibility for needing to prepare them in different ways and not like I'm trying to create difficult moments, um, but maybe have, yeah, just not made the pasta because I'm trying to teach them tolerance, but there are so many opportunities for them already.
Yeah. Right. Are there any other pieces about the sibling concern that come to mind for you? Because I know you have a lot of insight around this.
Well, as you were talking, I just thought it was so interesting because something else I'd learned along the way is like some children need help to feel more, right?
Mm.
And I definitely have a child that I need to like kind of bring out a little bit and like, what are you feeling? Like, and then some children who naturally come with a lot, and sometimes they do need limits. And that would, as a as a mother, as a therapist, it's like, oh, we never want to like have limits on, the feelings, but also containment and awareness of others and um in balancing needs. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're really good at expressing your needs, showing your feelings. And, I have another child over here who's, not as doesn't express their feelings as much. And I actually need to kind of coax it out of them sometimes. And so it sounds like you're being really attuned and you're having the conversations and maybe yeah, just continuing seeing like is he developing his capacity right now? Is this kind of making him feel like he's got to disappear right now? It's such a moment to moment thing, and they're learning from each other too. Is what I've seen. Like, because I've got one child with really big feelings and one who also has big feelings, but like uh, at some time has maybe not express them as much, and so I feel like, they've kind of balance each other out or teach each other in some ways as well.
I love that
Yeah.
we have that in common. Our
Right?
firstborn is more
Yeah.
of the, doesn't express as much, and then our second born
Mhm.
is hugely expressive.
I always said, like, my first did not prepare me for my second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, parenting this child came with a very different set of requirements for what parenting this child did, and they bring out different parts of us, right? Different, like, I'm like, "Whoa, I have had to bring all these other things online for this child."
Mhm.
And like, we are so expanded in who we become through parenting, but each child brings up different things in the part that it's like, "Wait, I need to speak up for this part that feels invisible or has to go away or like, this aspect or this child, and so but at the same time, I don't want to like diminish this one and, how does everybody there's no one right way to be, but it's yeah, balancing each individual need and then including yourself in there.
Including yourself in there.
Mhm.
Yes, self-care.
Mhm.
I'm going to roar. I'm gonna try this, I'll report back.
Tell me how
When
it
I
goes.
feel that authentic desire or impulse to yeah, to roar not at her, but just allow myself to express in that moment what I'm also feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll report back.
Yeah,
I like the
see how
sound
it
of that.
feels.
Right? Yes. Well, because the containment is the hard part. The
Mm.
constant containment, having to contain what I'm feeling and what she's feeling in that moment. So I like just that permission to experiment with this a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like so many parents go through this, like we're not the only ones with a firstborn and a secondborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just that, but like the different personalities and needs and yeah, one child who seems to have a lot more emotional needs than the other. So,
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope this was helpful and inspired your own reflection. We are feeling for you in whatever you're navigating as a parent currently. And it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button and share this episode with somebody who would benefit from it. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.